Om Sang Saraswati Namaha. Namaste. Namaste, everyone. On page 66, we'll begin with verse number 97. Om Patipasha Nirapanti Pitriloka Padayini Purani Punyathilacha Pranatarti Vidasini Pradumna Chanani Peshta Pitamaha Parigraha Pundarika Paravasa Pundarika Samanana Prithu Janga Prithu Bhuja Prithu Pada Prithu Dari Prabhala Shobha Pingakshi Tika Pitavasa Vachapala Prasava Pushpita Punya Pratishta Pranabhagati Panchavarna Panchabani Panchika Pancharastita Paramaya Parajoti Parapriti Paragati Parakashta Paresani Pavani Pavadyaduti Punyabhadra Parichedya Pushpahasa Piturdari Pitangi Pitavasana Pitashaya Pishachini Pita Priya Pishachagni Patalakshi Patugriya Panchabaksha Priyachara Putana Pranagatini Punaganaga Pana Madhyastha Punyatirtha Nishevita Panchamgi Panchaparasakti Praramala Danakarini Pushpakanda Sita Pusha Poshita Gita Vishtapa Prana Priya Panchasika Panagopari Shakini Panchamatradika Priti Patika Pritudokini Puranyan Yayamimamsa Bhatali Pushpakandini Punyanya Praja Paradatri Paramakaika Igochara Prabhala Shobha Punasha Pranava Phala Bodhri Palini Palaka Palu Putkari Palakakriti Panindra Gogya Sadhana Paning Mandala Mandita Bala Bala Bahumata Bala Tapani Manchaka Bala Bhadra Priya Bandya Bandava Buddhi Sanskrita Bandi Devi Vilavati Padishakni Bali Priya Bandhavi Bodhita Padur Bandhuka Krusama Priya Balabanu Prabhakara Brahmi Brahmana Devata Priyaspati Sutta Vrindavana Viharini Balakini Balahara Dilbhavasa Bahudaka Bahunetra Bahubada Bahukarna Vasanstika Bahu Yuta Bija Rupini Bakarupini Bindunada Kaladita Bindunada Swarupini Badagodyam Gulik Prana Badaryashrama Vasini Brindakaram Brindaraka Brihatskanda Brihati Panapatini Brindadyaksha Bakunuta Panita Bakuvikrama Padapatmasanasina Bilvapatra Talastita Bodhi Drumani Javasa Padisa Bindu Dharmana Navati Padavanala Beginning Brahmanda Bhakti Rantasta Brahma Kanshana Sutrini Bhavani Vishnavati Bhavani Boyaharini Bhadrakali Bhujangakshi Bharati Bharatashaya Bhairavi Vishnakara Buddhida Buddhimalini Bhamini Bhoganirata Bhadrada Bhuri Vikrama Buddhavasa Brigulata Bhargavi Brisurachita Bhagirati Bhogavati Bhavanasta Vishavara Bhavini Bhovini Bhurvasha Bhavani Puri Dakshina Bhargatmika Vimavati Bhavavanda Vimochini Vajaniya Bhuttadatri Ranjita Bhuvaneshwari Pujangapala Gabhima Pirunda Bhagadeini Mata Maya Madhumati Madhuri Jiva Madhubriga Om. Let's turn to page 157 and we'll begin with name number 601. She who bestows the realms of the ancestors, she who is ancient, she who is established in merit, and she who destroys the enemies of those who respect her. So if we give respect to her, our enemies will be destroyed. Good deal. Thank you, Mom. She who is the mother of the God of love, she who is nourishment, she who has been accepted by the grandfather, that's Pitamaha, that's Brahma, and he's also the creator. So he's often referred to as Pitamaha because he's the great-grandfather of all of our lineage, all of our shastras, all of our worship. Also, Pitamaha also often refers to Bhishma because he was also the grandfather of both the Kauravas and the Pandavas. So he was the grandfather of both sides in the battle of the Mahabharata. So she has been accepted by him. She who has completely controlled the infinite consciousness. She whose face is like infinite consciousness. She who has legs that cover the earth. And remember the verse in chapter 2 of the Chandi when she first manifested from the fire, her feet covered the earth and the top of her crown touched the highest reaches of the atmosphere. She's a big lady. So she has legs that cover the earth. She who has arms that cover the earth. She who has feet that cover the earth. She whose stomach can contain the earth. They said that Ganesh has 72 billion ladus in his stomach. Well, Mama's stomach can cover the earth. It contains the entire earth and all the ladus on it. Now that's big. I know, I was often referred to as the Ladhu Sadhu. She who is the beauty of the gem. She who has bright eyes. She who always dwells in radiance. She whose nature is inconstant. It's inconstant because it's always changing. Everything that we perceive is the change in the nature. So she is inconstant. She who gives birth to all. She who gives nourishment. She who is merit. And you know this merit is a merit on every level. If you do a good job, she's there. You got the merits of your efficiency. If you do the greatest job, she's there. Shiva gets the merits of his efficiency. So she's the punya which comes from acting like a sadhu. she who establishes all, she who is the spirit of Om, she who speaks the 5-lettered mantra Namah Shivaya. Namah Shivaya. The 5-lettered mantra is often called Panchakshar. Here it's called Panchvarna. Same thing. She who has 5 sounds. She who embodies the lunar calendar and all the lunatics contained therein. She who is established in all. She who is the supreme measurement of consciousness. She's Paramaya, Mahamaya, the great Maya, the supreme Maya, and beyond that still. And remember, Ma means to measure. And so Maya is the measurement. The measurement of infinity is Mahamaya, or Paramaya, the greatest measurement. The supreme measurement of infinity, the supreme measurement of divinity, the supreme measurement of consciousness. She who is in the supreme light, she who is the supreme beloved, she who is the supreme refuge, she who is the supreme time. She's really supreme. She who is the supreme ruler, she who purifies all. She who expresses the purity of fire, she who is excellent merit, she who cannot be divided, she whose laughter is like a flower. Hey, did you ever listen to a flower laugh? I mean, flowers have the most beautiful tone of laughter. Just look at them as they dance in the breeze, and you'll listen very closely. Hear that flower laughing. She who is the support of the earth, she who has a yellow body. That's the name of Durga. She's got a yellow body. She who wears a yellow dress, that's Sri Maa they were talking about. They didn't put the red border on it. That comes in another verse. She who has a yellow bed, I think that's Sri Maa again. She whose Swami is yellow. Oh no, that's not in this book. He's still orange a little bit. But he's got a yellow streak up his spine. She who associates with disembodied spirits. She who enjoys eating honey. She who destroys disembodied spirits. She associates with them and destroys them. She who has large eyes like rosebuds. She who is efficient in all action. She who loves the 5 kinds of food. Let's see if we can remember that are sweet and sour, astringent and bitter and what? Sweet and salty. We got them. Thank you. She who has taken the life from the demon Putana. Remember, that was one of the demons that Kamsa sent to kill the baby Krishna. She who resides in the middle of the forest of the fruits of victory. Every time you win any victory, any of us wins any victory, the fruits of the victory go to the mother, and she resides in the forest of the fruits of victory. She who served at the meritorious places of pilgrimage. She whose body has 5 parts. Do you know, I'm looking at name number 650, she who served, and she who has been served, and she who is served, are all appropriate. Punya tirtha nishevita. So she serves, and she is served, and she has been served, and will continue to be. She whose body has 5 parts. She who is the supreme energy, she who is the cause of the supreme happiness, She who is situated in the flower blossoms. She who is always fulfilled. She whose desire is to nourish all the worlds. She who loves to drink. Doesn't say what. I'll bet it's got something to do with Somras, the nectar of pure devotion. She who is highest above the 5 elements. She who rests in the supremely divine light. She who is the intrinsic nature of the 5. She who is the earth. She who is the traveler. She who gives nectar to the earth. She who is all the philosophies of the Purana from Nyaya to Mimamsha. Remember, there are 6 classical philosophies: Nyaya, Vaisheshika, Sankhya, Yoga, Purva Mimamsha, and Uttar Mimamsha. And all taken together, they make one path of philosophy, the stepping stones by which we move into union and harmony with the divine. Nyaya means logic. Vaisheshika says we take our logic and we understand that this creation is made up of atoms tumbling in the vortex of empty space, like uniting with like, and there's a material composition of everything that's perceivable. And then from the Vaisheshika to Shankya says, wait, this universe is not only material, there's got to be something else, spiritual. And there is both Prakriti, which is nature, and Purush, which is consciousness. Yoga. Yoga says the object of life, the goal of life is to unite our natures, to unite our Purush with our Prakriti, to create a bond of union between the individual soul and the Supreme Soul. Purva Mimamsha says the only way you can do that is devotedly loving, worshiping. Through devotion, love, and worship, you can love so much that you cease to be. I remember Thoreau, who used to sit on Walden Pond and gaze at the scene and cease to be. He fell so much in love that there ceased to be a distinction between the perceiver and the perceived. There was only union. And it felt very good. And the 6th step is Uttar Mimamsha, which is Vedanta, which says, there's only one being in this existence. The union is perfect. She who is all the philosophies from Nyaya to Mimamsha, she is the stepping stones of philosophy. She who holds a rose in her hand, she who exudes the scent of flowers, she who has beautiful children of merit, good work guys, she who takes us across life, she whose only goal is the path to the Supreme, she who is the radiance of the gem, she whose every desire is fulfilled, she who is expressed as Om and Hrim. And you know, Om is called the Pranava. That's the holy syllable that says, I bow. I bow to all of life through Om. And Hrim is the Devi Pranava. So it's I bow to all of creation in the form of Maya, in the form of the Divine Mother. She is expressed as Om Hrim. Brahmani Brahma Lokicha Boykunte Sarva Mangala. There are so many stotrams that begin Om Hrim. She who is as tender as new life. She who is the fruit of all actions. She who is the giver of all fruits. She who gives the pure fruits which nourish. She who expresses the sound put when angry, or this is a fruit. She She's a food curry. Huh? As well as a pot curry, but she's a food curry. She who makes all the fruits of the forest. She who enjoys rest upon the king of snakes. She who is sitting on the coils of the serpents of Kundalini energy. She who is a child among the children. She who has many opinions. Especially every one of us who expresses an opinion is expressing one of her opinions. She who wears the rays of the morning sun like a cloth. She's clothed in the radiance of golden rays. She who loves excellence. She who is worthy of worship. She who shines like fire. She whose praise is sung by knowledgeable people. She whose praises are sung. She who is the form of the bale. And remember that there's the bell tree and the bell fruit and the bell leaf. So she's the full form of the bale. It's a very holy tree to both Shiva and to Durga. She who destroys falsehood. She who loves sacrifice. And remember, sacrifice in our Dharma is offering ourselves in equilibrium, in equanimity. Usually sacrifice and surrender in English means it's the last thing I'm going to do to save myself is to give up. And in our Dharma, it's the first thing we strive to do is to divest ourselves of all of this duality and all of this attachment. She who is the friend of all, she who gives understanding to all, she who is intelligence, she who loves the flowers of friendship, she who is as beautiful as the illumination of the light of the morning sun, she who is creative energy, she who is the goddess worshipped by those who know supreme divinity, she whose praise is sung by the guru of the gods, she who is filled with delight, she who dwells in the forest of delight, she who is attracted to the peacock feather. And Krishna always wears that peacock feather in his crown, and all the gopis like to go follow the peacock feather. She who removes the faults from activity, she who dwells hidden as Kundalini, she who is as an immense body of water. She's like an ocean. She who has 3 eyes, she who has many feet, she who is heard in every ear, she's all vibrations. How can you hear anything other than her? She who has many arms, she who is the intrinsic nature of seeds, she who has many forms, she who is beyond the attributes of one-pointed sound, she who is the intrinsic nature of one-pointed sound. We were talking about one-pointed sound last night, the bindu of all the sounds. She who liberates all bondage by her one little finger. Just moving the finger. All the bondage is gone. Why is it such a struggle for us, Mom? You can do it with one little finger. She who dwells in the ashram of pure knowledge. She who is the form of delight. She who has broad shoulders. She who shoots the arrow of the Brihati meter. And so remember, she has 7 meters. Gayatri, Ushnak, Anashtup, Trishtup, Punkti, Brihati, and Jagati. And the arrow is the articulation of the mantra with one-pointed focus. She's slaying the obstacles to union. And here she's using Brihati meter as the meter. That's 40 syllables to the verse. She was the foremost leader of delight. She to whose feet all people bow. Everyone bows to her with every action, whether they know it or not. All people bow to her feet. She who is in the form of a beautiful woman, yes, you are. She who is the supreme authority. She who sits in the full lotus posture. She who is situated beneath the leaves of Bilbo. She who dwells at the foot of the tree of wisdom. She who is situated in greatness. She who is the reflection of the one point of existence. She who is a girl. She who holds a bowl. She who is the spirit of a great forest fire. She who is situated both inside and outside the creation. So she's inside the container and outside the container too. She's in and out of the creation. She who expresses the knowledge of supreme divinity. She who embodies all existence. She who is especially wonderful. She who creates, protects, and transforms. She who takes away fear. She who is the excellent remover of darkness. She who has eyes like a snake. She who is the light of wisdom. She who rests in the light of wisdom. She who is fearful. She whose form is tremendous. She who manifests existence, she who cultivates existence, she who expresses anger, she who enjoys incessantly. She who gives excellence, she who is beyond many rules, she who resides within the elements, she who embraces the father of astrology, Rigu. And you know, astrology is one of the important subjects of Sanskrit study. Not so much fortune telling, but astrology. How do you know which puja to do on which day? And at what time should you start? And what is the most auspicious time for you to perform these certain functions in your life? All of these are the study of astrology. Palmistry and fortune telling and things like that are merely small appendages of the whole body of astrology. And that's 750 names. Let's pause right here and see if there are any questions. Yes, Mr. Srini.
Swamiji, sometimes we face some extremely challenging situations.
Oh, do we ever?
And or we might be overcome by an extremely strong desire to achieve something.
Yes.
And in those circumstances, how do we respond in the sense that we have options like prayer, more effort, and surrender? How do these three concepts of prayer, effort, and surrender apply when faced with these challenging circumstances or strong desires?
All three will be important to us at the same time. They are not independent of each other. They are inherent in the circumstance. When confronted by any challenging circumstance, the first thing we do is pray, "Hey, Mom, can I make the right decision, please?" The second thing is we'll take refuge to effort and say, "Mother, outline for me my options. Let me see clearly what these options entail." And then third, we'll surrender to her and say, "Mom, I'm choosing this option in the firm faith that you are guiding me through this exercise. So I want you to please guide me, and I'm going to dedicate the fruits of this operation, this function, this activity. They all go to you, and we'll share them as well as we can, as best as we can, with as many as are beloved to you." So all three are operative at the same time in any challenging circumstance. Prayer, surrender, and effort all go together. And that makes a successful, it makes a potentially successful activity. In the absence of any one of those ingredients, we can't say, "Mom, I'm surrendering to you, I'm not going to make any effort at all." That's not going to get me where I want to go. That's putting the whole burden on you. We can't say, Mom, I'm making all the effort. I'm not surrendering to you. That doesn't work either. We've tried that a few too many times. We can't say, Mom, I'm surrendering to you without prayer. How can I surrender without a prayer? I got to pray that you accept my surrender. You accept my sacrifice. Please, make me worthy. So all three go hand in hand. There are three parts of the same equation.
Swamiji, we spoke earlier, you talked about how Maya of Sankhya, Tantra and Advaita are different.
Yes.
And today we were talking about these philosophies from Nyaya to Uttar Mimamsa. So is there a connection?
Certainly there is. There certainly is. And the understanding of the terms it's important that we understand the terms according to the philosophy in which we're having the experience. So if we're caught up in Nyaya and we're thinking about logic, then we've got to define Maya as the many, looking at the many. All of us looking at each other without reference to her. She's just there, and we are looking at all of us. So it's the many looking to the many, or Maya as that which obscures the reality. That's the Maya of Sankhya. Because Sankhya philosophy defines Maya as that which is not real, that which obscures the reality. It hides the reality, so we can't perceive reality. The real never changes. It's always the same. It abides. And Maya is always changing. Therefore, she can't be real. She must be false. And that's the argument put forth by Sankhya through the system of Nyaya in logic. Now, as we get into Sankhya and Yoga, we see that both Purusha and Prakriti are integral parts of this whole creation. They are the substratum of this creation. In the absence of Purusha and Prakriti, we cannot have manifested existence, and therefore they are both to be respected equally. Maya means the mother. The mother in relationship with her children, the many looking to the one and the one looking to the many. So there's a union. Here we are, all of us kids, and there she is, the mother of the universe, and we are looking to the one. And the one is blessing the many. And this is the Maya of Sankhya and Yoga, where we come into union, the Atma and the Paramatma unite, and this individual soul and the Supreme Soul become one. And then in the Maya Vedanta, it corresponds to Mimamsa. And Mimamsa says, hey, there's only one. Ekaivaham jagadmatra dvitiyam mamamapara. There's not a second one. Don't even postulate the second one. It's all one. It's all me. It's all Vedanta. The Maya Vedanta is the mother of the universe, the measurement of consciousness. The mother of the universe is the measurement of all the perceivable existence, and that's the embodiment of the mother, and it's all divine. And I am one with God. Aham Brahmasmi, Shiva Aham. This is the Maya Mimamsa. It's the Maya of Vedanta. This is the Maya of the supreme measurement of consciousness. So that's how we translated Mahamaya in the Chandi as the supreme measurement of consciousness. Because we wanted to go to the highest ideal that we possibly could. Yes, please.
Please, Swamiji, could you speak a little more of the sacrifice?
Sacrifice means giving up willingly, lovingly, joyously, making an offering in order to demonstrate. Now, what do I want to give up? I want to give up my duality. I'm going to give up my attachment. I'm going to give up my wandering mind, my worldly thoughts. So that would be the nicest thing that I give. And here I sit in a fire sacrifice and I make offerings and I sit here and say, okay, mind, come back here. I'm giving all the thoughts of the fire. Burn them, you can use them, recycle them, send them to heaven, do what you will. Make me pure. I am sacrificing my duality. This is my purpose, my function, the definition of my highest dharma is to be a child at the feet of mother, a devotee in the presence of God. My highest ideal of perfection is to be free from the wandering thoughts of the mind that's so attached to the past. Remember the story of the Chandi. The businessman lost his business, his wife and his kids kicked him out, and he went to the Rishi's hermitage and started to meditate. He met the king who lost his kingdom, and both of them went to the Rishi and said, how do we make the mind sit still? We're sitting here in this most beautiful ashram, and the fruits are sweet, the water's delicious, everything. There is no lack anywhere. Why are we thinking about what we lost, about our history? How can we make our minds sit still and think about what's going on here? This is so, incomparable, unthinkable, it's unimaginable, and yet my mind can't be here present because I'm so busy conjugating the past and recalling all those experiences. And so the businessman and the king, they went to the Rishi and said, please show us a way to make the mind sit still. And the Rishi gave the answer in the Chandi. It's all the dance of Mahamaya. Pray to her with one pointed attention. Offer all the duality, all the thoughts. Sacrifice all those thoughts. And pretty soon she'll bless you and she'll take them. And then it'll just be you and her. And you will have controlled the wandering mind. That's the story of our basic scripture. So that's what the sacrifice is. I don't want all these thoughts. I want to give them to you, and I know you can use them because I can't. I mean, you who are the mother of the universe, you've created these thoughts. If you want, you could give energy to the thoughts and make me think about me and mine and all that's gone away from me and all that's might come in the future and what's going to happen and what should have happened. And I'm tired. Just take all the thoughts and let me think only about how much I love you and how privileged I am to love you and how joyous is the association of satsang where we sit together in your presence and talk about you. What else could I want? So all those other stupid desires that come and knock on my door, please tell them no one's home. Go someplace else. Swami is otherwise engaged. He's not moving until he finishes chanting this text. That's the sacrifice. That's just what we call it, the sacrifice. That's a yajna. Yajna comes from a Sanskrit root yuj, to unite. And it means the union between the light of wisdom in the Agnya Chakra, the light in a purity in the fire, and the light in the eyes of the goddess. And all the lights come into one union, harmony, and we become united in the light. And that's yajna. That's the sacrifice. And we can't think of anything else because we're so intensely involved and engrossed in this wonderful relationship of purity where nobody wants anything from anybody except to love. And that's the sacrifice. To keep ourselves in that space of mind as much as possible. That's the yajna, and this is the tapasya, the sadhana, the spiritual discipline by which we purify ourselves, so we are empowered to do more and more and more sacrifice. Say, I love you in another way. In how many ways? Let me count the ways. Well, there's chopping wood, there's carrying water, there's how many ways there are that I show that I love you. Oh, sure.
Is in the same line
Oh.
as Peter's question. In so many religions, there's sacrifice, different kinds of sacrifice, animal sacrifice, the sacrificial lamb, and I'm asking, are any of these types of sacrifice, even fasting, giving up, are these sacrifices relevant to our path now? Any of them?
Yes, they are. I want to sacrifice the animalistic behavior that this body performs. I don't need it anymore. It only gets me into trouble. Eating, sleeping, and mating is only going to get me in trouble unless I'm willing to dedicate myself 190% to the nurturing of the souls that we bring into this world. But if my outlook is not to nurture the souls that come into this world, my outlook is only for a moment of pleasure, then I'm not planning my life. I sacrifice my sankalpa. We don't want to sacrifice our sankalpa. We want to make the sankalpa to make the sacrifice. So yes, all of these, fasting is relevant. It's always a good purification. It's nice when you eat less, you got more energy, you got less to carry around, you're a little lighter, it's easier to get in the body. How much time do you save? You don't have to earn, you don't have to shop, you don't have to bring home the stuff, you don't have to put it away, you don't have to take it out and prepare it, you don't have to eat it, digest it, clean up after it, and then the inevitable, what goes in must come out. Think of all the time that you save just by missing a meal. Yes, it's a valid sacrifice. Whenever possible, miss a meal. No deleterious effects will accrue from missing a meal. You will find so many benefits from missing a meal. And now that's one kind of sacrifice. In the Bhagavad Gita in chapter 4, Krishna talks about so many different kinds of sacrifice, and the greatest sacrifice is to love me with all your heart. Take up your sword of wisdom, Arjuna, and cut down the doubts born of ignorant attachments. That's the end of chapter 4. Many kinds. Some people sacrifice pranayam. They sacrifice the inflowing breath. You read over the passage. Some people sacrifice wisdom. That's what we're doing here. We're giving up wisdom just in order to sacrifice ourselves. This is called the Gyan Yagya. The union through wisdom. You know mathematically, if A is equal to B and B is equal to C, then A is equal to C. If the guru is equal to wisdom and the disciple is equal to wisdom, then the disciple is equal to the guru. And if you're listening with the same intensity as with which those words are being spoken, then you and I and you and the speaker and the words and the vibrations, the meanings are all one in that wisdom. And that's why it's called the Gyan Yagya, the sacrifice of wisdom. Because we're all one in the intensity of the flow of the vibrations. And if it's correct knowledge, if it's correct information, it's going to make a change within immediately, without our thinking. We just have to hear it and feel it and see it and perceive it, grok it, and it becomes ours. And when you hear it and see it and perceive it, you get it once. If you write it down, you get it twice. If you read it back, you get it 3 times. If you organize your notes, you get it 4 times. If you write a book about it, it becomes yours. It's no longer I'm reading the words in somebody else's book. This is my experience. I've gone through every syllable. I've written down every letter on the page. I know what it says when I'm saying it. And that's why I'm saying it. Not because some Swami told me to say it, Not because it was written in a book. I'm saying it because I know what I'm saying, and I'm saying it from my heart. Riti Bhajami. As it says in chapter 10 in the Dhyanam, I'm speaking to you from my heart. And that's where we want to go. We want to go to that place where it's ours. It started off as an externally imposed discipline that Srini Baba told us we have to study these words. And we started to study, we started to read, and we started to sit like he sits, breathe like he breathes, talk like he talks, feel like he feels, and pretty soon it was Ekdantam, Mahakayam, Lambodaram, Gajananam, Vignanasham, Karamdevam, Hirambam, Pranam. You could feel every syllable of it. You know it intimately. It's your knowledge. It's no longer Srini telling me to do this. Now I get to do it on my own. In fact, it's the first place I come in the morning. I just wake up and go in the shower, and my feet know the way. I don't have to think about what I'm going to do today. I got to go to the temple first. I got to get out of the temple second. Then I'll think about what I can do today.
Swamiji, question from Nanda from San Jose.
Namaste, Nandama.
Swamiji, pranam. Is there any difference in the terms sadhana and tapasya?
Yes. Yes, there are. Sadhana actually means the behavior of efficiency. And tapasya actually means the actions which are purifying and austere. So tapasya is a more intense form of sadhana. There are sadhanas to study a scripture, and I can be a sadhana. Srini Baba did sadhana to do a PhD. That was a sadhana. Tejaswini, when she writes a program, she's doing sadhana. Sometimes it's tapasya, but more often it's sadhana. It's just a sadhana. And it's not really a purifying austerity, it's a means to achieve a goal. We're going to organize our lives around these activities with a disciplined approach. And we take our sankalpa and we perform those activities to the greatest degree of our capacity, and we achieve that goal. Sadhana. But tapasya is definitely purifying austerities for the purpose of realizing God. To become pure enough to be afforded the privilege of sitting in the presence. Sadhana, a discipline to achieve any goal. Tapasya, a purifying austerity in order to accomplish spiritual union.
Swamiji, a question from Dan from New Jersey.
Namaste, Dan.
Namaste, Swamiji. With no formal initiation and only adhikar initiation into the path of worship, how can we ever be holders of the lineage or call ourselves a disciple?
You become a disciple when you reflect the image of the Guru. You become a disciple not by being whispered in your ear or blown in your ear or whispered through sweet nothings or through a ceremony. You become a disciple. In Sanskrit, shishya means a mirror. And you become a disciple when you become a mirror image of the worship, the attitude, the bhava, the understanding, the qualities and characteristics of your guru. There are many, many gurus who pass out mantras by the basketload. They don't make disciples, they make devotees. Remember a devotee, a bhakta. Bhakta praises the attainment of the guru and goes about life in the same way that he or she was prosecuting life as before. They don't necessarily make a change even though they've taken a new mantra. But a disciple makes his or her own self into the image, into the reflection of all the pure qualities which the guru exhibits, and thereby they become, shisha means a reflection, a mirror image. And that's how you become, without formal initiation, without just doing it by webcams and across the world. Dan, we can have a world full of true disciples because we're all worshiping together in the same intensity, in the same attitude, in the same understanding, with the same goals. That's what makes disciples.
Swamiji, a follow-up question from Nanda.
Yes, please.
If a disciple is a mirror of the guru, what is the guru a mirror of?
Oops. Actually, Nanda, the guru is another disciple. And yet, the guru's guru sits on the altar. And there is an image of a guru who has greater perfection. As many years as I've been sitting here, Shiva has not blinked once. As many years as I'm sitting here, Kali does not swing her sword at me. They are the gurus that don't move. They are the perfect gurus. We are gurus with imperfections. Watch us carefully and discriminate and use your understanding to tell yourself which are the good qualities you want to take and which should be disregarded or left beside. Take only the good things from us. We are active gurus. We are gurus in motion. There will be imperfections. Use your discrimination and discern which are the good qualities that you want to take from us. And what can you leave behind?
And follow-up question from Ambika from New Jersey.
Namaste, Ambika.
This is regarding your answer to the question on sadhana and tapasya.
Yes.
If we have made a commitment to raise children and take care of a family, would this be considered our sadhana or our tapasya, or is it both?
It can be both. You can make it both. If it's a duty that you are performing with the highest efficiency because you committed to God, it's your sadhana. If it's your privilege to serve God in the form of your children, lucky Sham, namaste Sham, then it's your tapasya. It's only a question of your attitude. If you are privileged to have the opportunity of serving your pati dev, your husband, and your children, because this is your path to the highest sacrifice, then this is tapasya. If it's something you gotta do because you signed up for it, and you're committed, then it's your sadhana. Either way, it's a good thing. Enjoy yourself, Mom.
Another question from Ambika. If one or two names resonate with us on any given day, is it okay to do japa with that name, or is it best to chant all 1,000 names? Thank you.
Or you can stay with any name you want. The purpose of studying 1,000 names is to find one name that fits you. And when you find your name, stay there as long as you can. And when you can no longer stay there, go on and read the others, or some more. After a while, you'll find that it's all one name. All 1,000 of them make one name. And you want to just stay there all the time.
Swamiji, a follow-up to your previous answer. Ambika's asking, then could it also be considered our dharma about taking care of my family?
Absolutely, it is your dharma. Ambika, that was your highest ideal of perfection in becoming a mother and a wife. And the best thing that you could possibly do as in fulfilling that dharma is do it religiously, with conviction. And love your husband as you love Lord Shiva, and love your son as you love your Gopal. And you are Tvameva Mata cha Pita Tvameva. You are the mother and the father and the child and the friend. You are in every role. You wear so many hats in the family. What a privilege it is for you to maintain your center as the world whirls by you. In all the changes that your husband will go through and your child will go through and your families will go through, they always know that there's one center that they can come to, and that's called Mom. Pranam.
A question from Dan. How strict should we be with counting the exact verses or mantras per breath?
As strict as you can be. Dan, the verses, of course, are written on a shtuk chanda, means it's 32 syllables to the verse. If you are reading according to a prescribed process of pranayam, then you want to maintain consistency in every inhalation and in every exhalation. So the pranayam function will require that you recite the same number of verses in every breath.
Swamiji, name number 498.
Yes, please.
It says, Nrinutaye Namahas, she who always has new dances.
Yes.
And are these dances the new circumstances that appear in our lives?
Yes, and also the new responses that we give to those new circumstances. So all of these combine together, and we are constantly seeing a new dance in the Leela, in the drama of Mother. She's got a new dance, and the dance steps affect us differently in every circumstance. Om Sam Saraswati Namaha. Namaste.